Eric Clapton. Welcome here in Countdown. It's an honor to have you here.
Well, thank you. It's nice to be here.
It's great. Your new album, Journeyman.
Yeah.
Is that symbolic to your career?
Yeah, it's kind of like the story of the musical trip that I've taken through my life, I guess.
So is that the reason why there's some old songs and new songs on it?
Yeah, there were some songs on there that I've always loved, like Hard Times, Before You Accuse Me, Hound Dog, that I've always wanted to do. So this was a good excuse to do them.
You just did them?
Yeah.
Great. About the people, the artists that are in your record, Chaka Khan, George Harris, Robert Cray, Phil Collins. What I'm curious about, how do you get them all together to make the album?
It's a difficult thing because of the schedules. You know, some people are going to be working, so we had to kind of time it so that this is what a great producer is for. You know, with someone like Russ Teitelman, he was behind the scenes finding out when they could come into the studio and when they couldn't. So it worked out. The timing was like God's gift. You know, everyone seemed to be there and available when we wanted them, so it was good.
But that's funny. Do you call them? You go, well, they're friends. They're all your friends, most of them. You just call them and say, wow, I want you to play on my album, or you meet them at a party?
Someone like Robert or George, you know, especially George. I've always done a lot of work with George where he's asked me if I would come and play on his record, but up until now, I've never asked him to return the favor. I don't know why, but it seemed like this was the perfect opportunity, and he was happy to do it. So
you just stopped by and then did a number. That's great. They're your music friends? Any regular friends? I mean, all I know is that you have your friends that make music, you play with them, you jam with them, you go to concerts, you play with them.
Yeah.
The Rolling Stones in New York, did you play with them?
Yeah.
You just crawled on stage and...
well, they knew I was going. Their management told them that I was going to come to Shea Stadium, and they said, well, let's think of what song we'd like him to play on. And that, to me, is a great honor. You know, they actually, before I was even there, they wanted to know what I was going to play on.
And it just happened? You just got on stage and you jammed together?
Yeah. Well, I've known them. We've been friends since we were 16 years old, you know.
Yeah, it's a tight bunch.
It's a long time.
What I got right here is a very old album. Maybe the camera, what camera it is right there. Any differences between then and now? We'll take a look at it. Take a look at yourself.
Quite a few differences, I think. Yeah, quite a few.
Well, tell me some. Tell us some about...
Well, I tell you, then I was like, you can see from this picture, in fact, that, you know, I'm not interested in what's going on. I am like the one who doesn't want to know about anything, right? I'm just reading my magazine. I'm a blues musician. I don't want to know, you know. And that was the way I was when I was that age. I was like a monk, you know. I didn't go out with girls. I didn't take drugs. I didn't smoke. It was a very weird time for me. I just played the blues on guitar all the time.
What is so obvious to me, and I can be walking anywhere, and friends told me that too, I can be walking anywhere and I can hear music, and I can always tell it's Eric Clapton on the guitar. But explain that. Maybe there's an explanation behind that.
Well, I see, when I started out, there weren't that many other guitar players, so I had to form my own style very quickly. And when I became more popular when I was in my early 20s, there really weren't that many other guitar players around that were any good, you know. There were just a few, like Jeff Beck and Jimmy Page, and then obviously Jimi Hendrix. And then time passed, and now we've got the situation where every guitar player, everyone on the block has got a guitar, you know, and they play, and a lot of them sound the same. But I guess what you're saying, I would still feel the same about with Stevie Ray Vaughan or Robert Cray or Jeff Beck. I can tell those guys, and I'm sure most people can, because they've developed their style over years and years.
It always stayed the same kind of music.
Yeah.
About your new clip, Pretending, we're going to show it in a minute.
Great.
The newest one. The director, it's a kind of different story behind that.
Well, I like doing videos, but I wanted to do something with one of the better people, you know, and I was thinking about getting a real cinematographer, a movie maker, to do the video with me, and I came up with this guy, Caleb Deschanel, who filmed The Right Stuff, which I thought was a great film, and also The Natural.
He did the light, right?
He's the lighting cameraman. I don't know what you call it here in Europe, but in America it's lighting cameraman or director of photography. Yeah. And we talked about the idea of doing it in the rain, and he thought that was a great idea. We like Japanese movies, The Seventh Samurai, that sort of thing. So we just kind of put our heads together and improvised. And I'd like to do some more work with him. I think he's great.
Okay, we're going to take a look at your new clip. Great. But first, I want to thank you very much.
Thank you, Jasper.
For being here.
Nice.
It was an honor.
Yeah.
What's up? This is Saul. Yo, what's up? This the big Peps.
And you're watching me.
No, you watching me.
You're watching me on the countdown.
On the countdown. Me.